that people with ADHD are actually better entrepreneurs. I don't know if anybody ever heard that or not, but that's kind of wild. And I was really excited. Okay, April, you said you didn't get the link to join the summit. You got to log in. Use that login you got. And I just sent out an email to everybody that registered for the Zoom link. So that information, I sent it out. If you have any trouble, email support at theblackbusinessschool.com and they can help you for sure. But April, I did send out the email for the register. I sent it out literally 5 minutes ago. So check your email. Also, use that login that you have for the Dr. Boyce Academy to go in, and you'll see the summit. It'll be one of the courses you have access to, and that information is right there in the curriculum section. So I want to make sure you get that. I know hundreds of you have registered already, and so for those of you that can't find the link or something like that, just know I'm gonna email it out again, just because I like to be thorough. Some of you may have gotten more than one email about the summit. I just like to sort of overdo it. So forgive me if that ever happens where you get the same thing more than once. It's because when you're communicating with like literally thousands and thousands of people, you want to just make sure you hit every nook and cranny. So my apologies if it's too much, but I'd rather do too much than do too little. So anyway, with that being said, so I saw this study that basically says that people with ADHD are better entrepreneurs, and I thought that was just the weirdest thing that ADHD could drive entrepreneurial capacity. And so that I dug into that further because I was diagnosed, and I might have told you this story. My kindergarten teacher, she identified it actually, and she sat my mother down and basically just said, "Look, your son his attention span is not very long, and he's in class, and so she said that one day she wanted to trick me into." Kind of embarrass me into paying attention because I would just kind of get up and walk around while she's teaching. And so she kept on teaching and pretended like she didn't see me. She just let me just kind of do what I was doing. And so her big plan was I'm going to embarrass him by making him recite to me everything that was on the board. And so she did that. She kept teaching. And as she's getting, as she's watching me get up and stand up and talk to the other kids and walk around and everything, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him now, right?" And so anyway, it gets to the moment of truth where she's like, "Okay, boy, so tell me what we were just talking about." And she claims that I remembered every single thing that she was teaching, like I was completely paying attention, but I just like to multitask. And what I found is that still actually happens. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but that still happens to me to this day. I literally still will do that, and people might think I'm not listening, but it's not because I'm not listening. It's because like if I'm listening to you, my eyes can be doing something different from what my ears are doing, and that doesn't work too well. Like if you get married, don't do that with your wife because they want you to do this while they're talking to you. You got to give them full attention like this, and it's hard. It's an adjustment process. It took me some work to get there. So anyway, so that's that. But by the way, so long story short, the ADHD thing, apparently this all makes sense. And I'm going to go through this a little bit because I know a lot of you have kids, especially your sons and your daughters that are in school are maybe struggling with ADHD or being diagnosed or whatever. And I'm not here to tell you how to treat a child. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not here to tell you how much medication is too much medication or too little. I know that in my particular case, the lady warned my mother about the medication because she felt it was a young white woman actually. She felt that black boys were over medicated. I don't know if anybody else feels that way or has seen that at all. But there are a lot of people who believe that black boys, because we might show up differently, the first thing they do is we're gonna pop a pill in your mouth. Here, take a pill, take a pill, take a pill. And it's not to say that that pills are always bad, right? Some people need their medication. We know this. A lot of y'all know some certifiably crazy people that need their medication, but maybe a pill shouldn't be the first thing you go to. And there's evidence in big pharma that says that because of the capitalist nature of big pharma and the money that they're making, they're really quick to overdiagnose. Even the best doctors and the best specialists in medical school, every single remedy, and I've heard this from a lot of my friends who went to medical school, they don't really show you how to prevent illnesses, how to cure anything, right? How to do anything naturally. It's everything's about take a pill, take a pill, take a pill, right? I don't know, does anybody so let's give me a guess if you understand that I'm not telling you what kind of medication your child needs to take. Like, do we agree on that? Because I'm not here trying to because I ain't trying to tell somebody stop taking their meds, right? But my mother actually, her position was, yeah, my son's different, but actually she saw my ADHD as a superpower. She said he's just observant, he's sharp, he can see things, and she said I don't want to dull that, I don't want to numb that, right? I want him to be who he's going to be and learn to live with that, right? So anyway, I'm going to read some of this to you. And by the way, because I was concerned about what April said about not getting the link for the stock options summit. This link here, April, if you hit that link and use your login, that will take you directly to the actual Zoom link for the stock option summit. We start at 11. So if you just use that, if you're already registered, that link, if you log in, it'll get you right into the summit. We start at 11. I'll put it in the chat so everybody can see it. And then what I'll also do is for anybody that hasn't signed up for the stock option summit, which is really, really super lit. I worked really hard on putting together something really extraordinary for us to be able to really drill into stock options and just see this amazing opportunity for what it is. I'm going to give you a discount code so that you can join, where you can join for the special price for Money in the Morning students. So here's the link for the code to join. So that other link is for those of you that are already registered. That first one, you click on it, it'll take you right to the Zoom. And for those who haven't registered, you can register. Once you register, you'll have a login and you can go into the curriculum section and you'll find all the Zoom information right there. Plus, there's bonus trainings on, how to get started with stock options. I forgot what else. We include a lot of extra bonus stuff. I forgot what it is, but stuff that's actually quite good for your learning of stock options. You will be good at stock options if you hang out with me long enough. I promise you that. All right. So anyway, with that being said, so let me give you some information on this ADHD thing and explain to you just how ADHD is actually connected to entrepreneurship and why. In fact, before I even start, I'd like to know, does anybody else think that you might struggle with ADHD? How many ADHD kids we got in the room? Anybody think you might have it? What do y'all think? Maybe you're diagnosed, maybe you're on your meds now. Keep taking your meds. Don't let me talk you out of that. How many of you have been like diagnosed with it or seen it? And yeah, I am, and I was kind of happy to see this. It says, okay, this explains a lot. So check this out. Basically, the reason that they say that people with ADHD are better at starting businesses, and this might be good for you if you have children that are struggling with attention span, is that people with ADHD apparently they don't like a lot of rigid structure and boring bureaucracy. And they still for me it's true to this day. If you've got a bunch of stupid, boring, worthless procedures I got to go through to get to the main thing, that drives me crazy. And you see it all the time. Like when I talk about politics, I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, stop all that yapping. I don't want to hear all that yapping. What's the solution? How are we gonna fix this? Like black wealth has been dropping for 40 years straight. Let's cut to the chase, please. Stop trying to give me an inspirational speech about hope and change, and just let's figure out how to make sure the kids know how to balance a checkbook and how to make an investment and how to not be broke because there's too much pain out here. So I'm one of those cut to the chase type people. I've always been that. People with ADHD also have a high tolerance for chaos, which entrepreneurship can provide a lot of chaos. So they said people with ADHD often function better in fast-moving, unpredictable environments. So that's how entrepreneurship is. It can be fast and unpredictable, and it's not the sort of stable, simple paycheck. So the corporate plantation provides at least the illusion of stability because they pay you the same amount every month or every week, no matter what. The instability is deep beneath it. It has what you call jump risk. There's a type of risk called jump risk. And jump risk is the risk that you can instantaneously jump to a parallel universe that you didn't anticipate, meaning the universe of unemployment. If your boss decides to just, hey, your job's not available anymore. So that creates a lot of chaos for people right there. So your chaos is there, but it's deeper beneath the surface, whereas the entrepreneur endures the chaos every week, every month and it's not simple, right? It's if you become an entrepreneur, you're going to lose more money than you've ever lost in your life. But if things go well, you're going to end up making more money than you've ever lost in your life. And April says she has the link now, and that makes me happy, April. I'm very that was becoming my number one concern. Is April West going to be at the Stock Option Summit? Because if April West is not there, ain't no party like an April West party because an April West party don't stop. So April, I'm very happy that you found that link because I was praying for you, girl. I was praying for you. All right. So anyway, let's get back to it. All right. Thank you for sharing that, April. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So the next thing is, ADHD people are funny, right? Right. On one hand, we'll kind of be all over the place, but when we lock in, we really lock in. Apparently, apparently, hyperfocus is a superpower of some ADHD people. So when the idea is we have to care about what we're doing, right? So when you get to the point where you are passionate about something, anybody go through that? And I think this is true for most people. When you unlock the passion in addition to the intellect, that's when you get the explosive superpower. That's when you become a genius at what you do. Because you're not doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. You do it because you feel it. You do it because because you're just in it. Like you're immersed in it. And so this really, and this is something you should share with your kids, because some of y'all may have sons that are, where especially with the black boys, first thing they want to do is medicate us for everything, and it drives me crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Um, and the truth is though, like if you can connect your heart and your head, you can do amazing things. That's the multiplier, right? Don't just do it because you're good at it. And, bring some passion to the table, and then you'll find that's when the genius comes out, because then you're not working anymore. I haven't worked for 35 years. I haven't had a job since I was in my 20s. I don't have a job. I don't work. I live. I feel something every morning that pulls me out of bed. I don't get out of bed because I just, oh, here we go. Oh God, you got to go talk about this black wealth. No, like I talk about this stuff when I'm by myself and got nothing better to do. Like I don't say, oh, I got to get away from work because work is too much. I don't think that think about this. You spend most of your life in your profession. We spend more time with work than we do almost anything else. And it's crazy that that becomes something that you got to get away from in order to be happy. That your happiness can't be in what you're doing. Your happiness is somewhere else. And I'm not saying that you should quit your job tomorrow. I'm saying that there should be a commitment, especially when you talk about kids inheriting whatever we pass down to them. They inherit our success. They inherit our pain. I don't want my children to inherit misery from me, right? I'd rather say, okay, make sure you understand wealth and money and business models so that you can build a business model around the thing you love, as opposed to having to submit to someone else's business model that's built around the thing that you don't enjoy very much or that you're not passionate about. And this is why training on economics early is so important, because I told our daughter, I said, you live in the richest economy on the planet. You can build a business model around anything. If you love art, you can build a model around art. I met a brother in the airport, and he stopped me and he said, "Hey, Dr. Boyce, how you doing, man?" And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And then we were talking. I forgot his name, but I said, "So what do you do?" And because I sometimes I forget to ask that. And I ask it. I love asking it, because every time I meet any of you on the street, you're always doing something really interesting. And this brother he was a sports agent for Red Bull or something, or did sports deals with athletes and like something really cool, you know? And he had his fiance. She was a real pretty lady. She didn't know who I was. She had kind of walked ahead, was looking back like, okay, who's this guy you're talking to? And so I was gonna let him go. And I said, yeah, I get it. Your girl's waiting for you, so you gotta. But and then he told me he was gonna propose to her. He said she doesn't know, but I'm gonna propose to her tomorrow. So I just loved it. You had this successful black man who was really intelligent, married, about to marry this beautiful woman, and he's doing something that he really loved, and something that you can really honor. And I just personally think that's an aspiration that we would all have for our kids. Doing something that you enjoy that can also pay the bills, not just doing anything that becomes available to pay the bills, because that might mean that maybe somebody didn't teach you all the different ways that you can still get your bills paid. You can build an economy around anything, I promise you. All right, so let's keep going. Um, ADHD people also have a superpower of natural pattern recognition. We can notice patterns and trends and connections that other people overlook. That's important for entrepreneurs. I've always had that. I can always look at patterns And then I became really into patterns when I was doing research at Syracuse, because all you're doing when you're analyzing data is looking for patterns, right? So pattern recognition is fun for me. And again, that's why I say things that will, frustrate people, because I'll say, well, we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not getting any results. Like, why would you keep repeating that just because somebody told you to do it? Let's look at the pattern. Let's look at the pattern. Let's look at the pattern of success. Well, families that teach their children about economics at an early age and that save and invest tend to do quite well in America, even if they're black. So that's another pattern, right? So the question is, how do you avoid the bad patterns and connect with the good ones? A pattern I'm absolutely convinced of is that if black people are teaching each other and we're teaching our own children and we're teaching about economics, we succeed, we win. Forget all this like, oh, well, you're black, you ain't gonna really amount to nothing. You can't do nothing because the master don't let you do nothing. If he don't say it's okay, then it's not gonna be okay because they don't like it when we learn how to read. I'm like, if they like it or not, like I like it. I like reading. So that's all that kind of matters to me. I'm not really trying to, impress somebody else by reading. I read because that's what I want to do. And I've never met a white man who could stop me from doing it. So I don't even understand the point of this conversation. So anyway, let's keep going. Um, Also, ADHD people tend to have a low attachment to rigid systems. They don't like hierarchy and routine. And so that pushes them to create their own structures instead of living inside somebody else's structure. Man, does that not talk about structural racism in a nutshell? When you talk about things like systematic racism, and racism is systematic, my solution has always been simple. If you don't like the system you're in, why would you be in that system? Why not find a system that you like, that actually works for you? Why don't you create your own system? Well, maybe it's because nobody taught you how to create systems. They only taught you how to survive in systems. Nobody taught you how to be free. They only taught you how to be oppressed and how to survive in the middle of oppression. I think that that's one of our biggest challenges is that we teach our kids. I remember, I don't know if anybody else grew up hearing this, but I don't, has anybody ever heard somebody say this? There's there's like a thing where there used to be people, and I don't know if they still do this or not, but they would say that HBCUs were unrealistic because you're eventually going to have to go work for a white person, so you should learn how to operate around white people. Like it's not realistic to be in an environment that's all black. Like, has anybody ever heard that? I remember hearing people say that, um, and that's I found that really interesting. By the way, there's the link to the stock options summit. I saw somebody was asking for that. We start at 11, so I'm actually going to have to go in a minute because I got to get more prepared a little bit. But yeah, at that time it made sense. At that time when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. You are eventually going to have to work with white people and work for a white person. But now I look back on that and I'm like, who says that has to be your reality? I don't know any white people who say, well, going to Yale is unrealistic because eventually you're going to have to work for black people. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do acknowledge that they know that the world is diverse. They know that we're out here and that they're going to meet one of us one day, unless they go to Idaho or something, right? But I'm sure there's a couple black people in Idaho. But the thing is that it's still kind of weird that we would even think that it's unrealistic to think that you can have a life outside of the system that someone else created for you. And so one of the things that we do a lot of in our Black Business School for Children is called Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. We speak it into existence because it's very easy to turn a child into a millionaire because you have time. It's very, very easy, very straightforward. As we talk about systems, building sturdy children. Sturdy is an acronym. It's spelled STERDY. STERDY. It stands for Systems, Technology, Entrepreneurship, Relationships, and Delegation for the youth. A child who's raised to understand how systems work can go out and build a system that works for them. If they don't like the system they're in, they can step out and create something new. Technology is everything. AI, quantum computing. Like if you know technology, then you can scale your system. Entrepreneurship means you can create a business instead of submitting to someone else's business. And all a business is another system. And many businesses lean on technology. Pretty much all of them are, especially with artificial intelligence. relationships. Well, relationships matter because if you look up the definition of what a corporation is, it's one of the definitions is it's a nexus of relationships. It's a bunch of people that have relationships with each other, where they operate within some sort of system, some technology-based system that was created by somebody, right? And then delegation is how these companies work. You get more done because you form relationships with other people within that system that you might have helped to create. And by delegating the tasks, you have these natural teammates that help you become much more productive instead of carrying the whole world on your back. This is the kind of stuff that you really understand, not just by learning it and seeing it, but by doing it and really meditating on it, like consciousness. Like meditation is something I recommend for anybody because really what I find is that people that just meditate and think a lot, they notice things that other people don't notice. And one of the important things about becoming the captain of your economic destiny, or what I refer to as an economic god. That's what I want you to be. I want you to be an economic god, which means you can manifest the reality that you'd like to see. Is consciousness is critical. So this is almost like a religious conversation. Like the consciousness means that you're rising and you're operating on a higher level, higher frequency, and higher dimensions, and you can see things others can't see, make plans that others can't fathom, and you're living in, you're able to see the year 2032, which might be the one difference that allows you to become wealthy when others stay broke. Other people are, fighting through the trees. You're looking at the whole forest. Think about this. Imagine if you had planned for 2025 when it was 2018. If you had planned for 2025 when it was 2018 and said, I'm going to sacrifice in 2018 so that my life will be amazing in 2025, it would be very easy for you to be a millionaire, to be very close. Literally one move. You could have just said, I'm going to buy, $200 worth of Bitcoin every week and I won't stop until 2025 or 2026. That right there would have made you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So consciousness. Don't underestimate that. Very important. Um, what else? Strong bias toward action. People with ADHD they tend to want to move. They don't want to sit still. They don't just sit there and get paralysis of analysis. They tend to want to jump right in and try things, right? So Silicon Valley, they have a slogan on how they build companies called "Move fast and break things." And what they tend to do is they don't launch products when they're perfect. They don't wait till they get to 100%. They get about 70, 75%. Then they launch, they mess up, they fix it and make it better, as opposed to sitting there and thinking about things or processing things ad nauseum to the point where you miss out on your opportunity. A lot of people think things like potential matter a lot, and they don't matter nearly as much as you think. Potential, intelligence, or coming up with an idea doesn't matter nearly as much as execution. If you're not executing, and the execution is something that doesn't come from a burst of inspiration. Execution comes from consistent discipline. That means doing it even when you don't feel like it. That means being consistent every day, moving toward the goal. So the execution piece is the part that I find that sometimes we miss out on, but that's the critical part because that also links to something that's really important for wealth building, which would be habit formation. What you do consistently becomes your habit. What you do regularly becomes who you are. You just like you are what you eat. If you eat bad food every day, then you're going to become overweight and sick and everything else, right? So same thing. If you exercise every day, then you're going to be healthy and fit. But you can't go to the gym one time. You go to the gym 3,000 times. And after going for hundreds and hundreds of times, you start to notice that your body starts to shape in a specific way. So the same thing is true when it comes to being financially fit. What are you doing every day? What are you doing every week? What are you doing every month? What are you doing consistently to become the person that you'd like to become? And I guarantee you that if you do that, then you're going to start to see the shift occur. It's just a little sneaky though. It doesn't seem like it's happening. Everything sneaks up on you, just like babies grow, and you can stare at them and you don't see them growing at all. Like you're just watching, like, okay, you're 3, you're supposed to stay like this forever, and then one day you turn around and the baby's got a deep voice and they're going to college or they're trying to drive a car and you're like, what? Or the cute little baby done turned into a thug. You're like, how did the baby become a thug? He wanted his blankie like 10 minutes ago. What's going on? But that's how change kind of sneaks up on us. And so that consciousness allows you to kind of slow it down and just say, okay, what am I, going to do in the next year or two? What am I going to do today? How am I going to be a great black man today? How am I going to be a great black woman today? If you approach things in that way, then I guarantee you'll see your wealth grow, your success, all these other things. Okay. All right. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I got to run actually early because the Stock Option Summit's going to start in 30 minutes. Here's the link again for those of you who did not sign up yet. You can sign up there, and also the Zoom link is in the curriculum section. Once you log in, after you sign up, just log in. There's lots of free stuff in there for you as well. And the Zoom link, you can find it in the curriculum section. It says register for the live event. And also there's some free stuff in here. And the recordings are available to you for life. And you can, and also if you have multiple family members that want to come to the summit, it's all online. It's not physical. It's all right here. We're going to meet in 30 minutes. Um, if you want to bring family members, don't pay for multiple family members. Pay for one person and everybody just share the same screen or just share the registration link, whatever it is, right? So we do have that honor system, right? So we hope no one abuses it. But yeah, I know money's tight. And so we try to create win-win situations where we can raise money for the Black Business School because we do have a bigger mission. We want to get a physical campus and do all these things. But we don't go to the government for money or whatever. So we have to find other ways to build and create. And then also we keep it affordable, right? So our promise to you, our consistent commitment to you is that you will learn more from us for almost free or close to free than you learned in 4 years of college, where maybe you might have spent $100,000. That's something we can say with complete faith and confidence because we're that good at what we do. So the link is in there. There's also free stuff. There's Prime 101 for options beginners. You can watch that whenever you want. So if options are new for you, you're not gonna know everything in a weekend. I just want to make that clear. But we can get you started. I can show you some targets where to aim for. How to identify certain opportunities, things like that. And then what I want you to do is afterward, I want you to go back and to finish, go through it again and think it through and get better at this. So if you're a beginner, it's great for you. If you're not a beginner, then it's a great opportunity for us to talk about some advanced strategies too. All right. So the link is in the chat. Feel free to click on that link and join us. We're going to meet today at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is in 29 minutes. So I'm about to skedaddle. So God bless you, everybody, and I hope you have a great day. And thank you guys for hanging out. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.